NFPA 70E, the standard for electrical safety in the workplace, serves as a comprehensive guide for ensuring electrical safety protocols are in place to protect workers from electrical hazards. It's important to understand that while the National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides guidelines for safe electrical installations, NFPA 70E focuses specifically on the safety of employees who work with or near electrical equipment. The NEC, primarily concerned with preventing fire and shock hazards in electrical installations for buildings and structures, outlines requirements for wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and equipment installation. It's a design and installation standard, ensuring that electrical systems are installed safely according to established best practices. NFPA 70E, on the other hand, addresses the practical aspects of electrical safety in the workplace, detailing the procedures and practices necessary to create a safe working environment for qualified electrical workers and other employees who may be exposed to electrical hazards. NFPA 70E helps employers and employees identify, evaluate, and mitigate electrical hazards. This is accomplished through a risk assessment process which involves firstly, identifying potential electrical hazards such as exposed live parts, secondly, evaluating the likelihood of occurrence of injury or damage and the potential severity of the injury or damage, and thirdly, implementing appropriate risk control methods to reduce the risk to an acceptable level. The standard emphasizes a hierarchical approach to risk control, prioritizing the elimination of hazards wherever possible. When elimination is not feasible, other control methods such as substitution, engineering controls, awareness, administrative controls, and personal protective equipment, or PPE, are employed. One of the key aspects of NFPA 70E is its focus on arc flash and arc blast hazards. An arc flash is a dangerous electrical explosion that can occur when a fault develops in an electrical system. Arc flashes produce intense heat, pressure waves, and molten metal, posing a significant threat to anyone in the vicinity. An arc blast is the pressure wave created by the arc flash. NFPA 70E provides detailed guidance on performing arc flash hazard analysis to determine the potential incident energy levels at various locations within an electrical system. This information is used to select appropriate PPE for employees who may be exposed to arc flash hazards. NFPA 70E outlines specific requirements for various aspects of electrical safety, including firstly, lockout/tagout procedures for de-energizing electrical equipment before work is performed. Secondly, establishing an electrically safe work condition. Thirdly, safe work practices for working on or near energized electrical equipment. Fourthly, the use of appropriate PPE, such as arc-rated clothing, gloves, and face shields. And fifthly, the training and qualification of employees who work with or near electrical equipment. The standard requires that employees receive comprehensive training on the hazards associated with electrical work and the safe work practices necessary to mitigate those hazards. The standard addresses specific voltage levels and equipment types. For example, it contains requirements for working on or near exposed energized electrical conductors or circuit parts operating at 50 volts or more. It also covers specific requirements for working on equipment such as switchgear, motor control centers, and transformers. NFPA 70E emphasizes the importance of establishing an electrically safe work condition before any work is performed on electrical equipment. This involves de-energizing the equipment, verifying that the equipment is de-energized, and implementing lockout/tagout procedures to prevent the equipment from being accidentally re-energized. Lockout/tagout procedures are a critical component of electrical safety. These procedures ensure that electrical equipment is properly de-energized and isolated before any work is performed. Lockout involves physically disconnecting the equipment from its energy source and attaching a lock to the disconnecting device to prevent it from being re-energized. Tagout involves attaching a tag to the disconnecting device to warn others that the equipment is being worked on and should not be re-energized. NFPA 70E provides detailed requirements for lockout/tagout procedures, including the use of standardized lockout/tagout devices and the training of employees on proper lockout/tagout techniques. NFPA 70E also addresses the selection and use of appropriate PPE. PPE is the last line of defense against electrical hazards and should be used in conjunction with other control methods. The standard specifies the types of PPE required for different types of electrical work, including arc-rated clothing, gloves, face shields, and footwear. Arc-rated clothing is designed to protect employees from the intense heat generated by arc flashes. The arc rating of clothing is measured in calories per square centimeter, and the appropriate arc rating is determined based on the potential incident energy level at the work location. Gloves are used to protect employees from electrical shock. The voltage rating of gloves should be appropriate for the voltage level of the equipment being worked on. Face shields are used to protect employees from arc flash debris and molten metal. The standard requires employers to provide employees with appropriate PPE and to ensure that employees are properly trained on how to use and maintain the PPE. Training is an essential component of electrical safety. Employees must be trained on the hazards associated with electrical work and the safe work practices necessary to mitigate those hazards. NFPA 70E specifies the topics that must be covered in electrical safety training, including firstly, hazard awareness, secondly, safe work practices, thirdly, lockout/tagout procedures, fourthly, the use of PPE, and fifthly, emergency response procedures. Training should be provided to employees on a regular basis, and refresher training should be provided as needed to ensure that employees maintain their knowledge and skills. The relationship between NFPA 70E and other standards, such as the NEC and OSHA regulations, is important to understand. As previously mentioned, the NEC provides guidelines for safe electrical installations, while NFPA 70E focuses on the safety of employees working with or near electrical equipment. OSHA regulations, on the other hand, are legally enforceable requirements that employers must comply with to protect their employees. OSHA regulations incorporate many of the provisions of NFPA 70E, making it a de facto standard for electrical safety in the workplace. Compliance with NFPA 70E can help employers meet their OSHA obligations and avoid potential fines and penalties. NFPA 70E is a dynamic standard that is updated on a regular basis to reflect changes in technology, best practices, and regulatory requirements. The standard is revised every 3 years by a committee of experts representing a wide range of stakeholders, including employers, employees, equipment manufacturers, and government agencies. Staying up to date with the latest edition of NFPA 70E is essential for ensuring that electrical safety programs are effective and compliant with current requirements. One of the key updates in recent editions of NFPA 70E is the emphasis on risk assessment. The standard now requires employers to perform a formal risk assessment before any electrical work is performed. The risk assessment should identify potential electrical hazards, evaluate the likelihood of occurrence of injury or damage and the potential severity of the injury or damage, and implement appropriate risk control methods to reduce the risk to an acceptable level. The standard also provides guidance on how to document the risk assessment process. Another important update is the clarification of requirements for arc flash hazard analysis. The standard now provides more detailed guidance on how to perform arc flash hazard analysis, including the selection of appropriate calculation methods and the determination of incident energy levels. The standard also includes updated tables and formulas for calculating arc flash boundaries and PPE requirements. NFPA 70E also includes requirements for electrical safety program development. The standard specifies the elements that should be included in an electrical safety program, such as management, commitment, hazard identification and assessment, safe work practices, training, and auditing. The standard also emphasizes the importance of employee involvement in the development and implementation of the electrical safety program. In addition to the core requirements, NFPA 70E also includes informative annexes that provide additional guidance and information on various aspects of electrical safety. These annexes are not mandatory, but they can be a valuable resource for employers and employees who are seeking to improve their electrical safety programs. Some of the key annexes include information on arc flash hazard analysis, selecting PPE, developing lockout/tagout procedures, and performing electrical safety audits. In summary, NFPA 70E is a comprehensive standard for electrical safety in the workplace that provides detailed guidance on how to protect employees from electrical hazards. It addresses the practical aspects of electrical safety, including risk assessment, safe work practices, PPE, and training. Compliance with NFPA 70E can help employers create a safe working environment for their employees, meet their OSHA obligations, and avoid potential fines and penalties. Understanding the relationship between NFPA 70E, the NEC, and OSHA regulations is essential for ensuring that electrical safety programs are effective and compliant with current requirements. By staying up to date with the latest edition of NFPA 70E and implementing its provisions, employers can significantly reduce the risk of electrical injuries and fatalities in the workplace. Always consult the latest edition of NFPA 70E for the most accurate and up-to-date information.